Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
And I'm Tiffany.
Hey, and today we're going to be talking about, of course, comic books that are coming out this week, and we're going to be reviewing books that came out last week and give you your thoughts about them. And then we're going to be our book of the week. That's a book that we felt was particularly exceptional of the samplings that we read. So it's
Okay.
a niche of a niche of a niche, but people seem to dig it, so we're going to do it anyway. Excited to talk about it and more. A little different today.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, but I want to thank my intrepid and amazing co-host Tiffany for being here, even though she couldn't physically be here. I couldn't physically be here is really what it was. I'm ill from Comic-Con.
That's right.
So we're distancing because miraculously you didn't get ill from Comic-Con or me, given that we live together.
Superstition, man. Superstition.
I did the knocks.
Oh, I didn't hear the knocks. That's
they were on my skull.
Oh, I okay. It's fair. I was gonna say it's just your mic's really good.
Yeah, it is a good mic, thanks to you. But we should mention that this show is sponsored by viewers like you. If you're watching the show live, you can sponsor today's show by using a super chat. Ask a question or comment. We'll read it here on the show using super chats, and it'll sponsor the show and go into the infrastructure that is Comic Pop overall. I don't want to get too inside baseball, but I had a meeting about trying to expand / enhance Comic Pop's growth. And It was one of the most infuriating, disheartening meetings I've ever had with a company that shouldn't be as slipshod as they were. I couldn't there was a moment I didn't get a chance to actually talk to Tiffany about it. Tiffany's my wife and life partner, so normally we just talk about this privately, but I will mention this just there was a point in the within 5 minutes I was like, this is going nowhere, this is a complete waste of my time. And we were screen sharing, and they were going over their program, and there was something they did where at one point I just said, and this is the part where we are going to have to end our meeting, and I want to thank you for your time.
Did you really?
But we are not going to proceed any further.
Did you really?
Yeah, and he was like, yeah, that's fair. There was a whole campaign lined out, misspellings. In advertisement, it was just I couldn't believe the level of the lack of professionalism and I'm like, we're Comic Pop.
When Comic Pop is the most professional thing in the room, you're in trouble.
Yeah, and I wasn't I didn't yell and scream or anything. I was just kind of and this is the part where our meeting has to end.
Wow.
And I think we both understand why. And they were like, yeah. But we were screen sharing. I actually got to delete their program in front of them. I was like, click, goodbye. The last thing they saw was me cancel the campaign that they were working on. I was like, I need you to understand this is something that cannot go forward, and it's because of you. Your presentation was bad, and you should feel bad. I was just like,
and you should be made to feel bad.
Yeah, thank you, Zoidberg. I just couldn't do it. But anyway, yeah. So we're 5 days into my COVID isolation, and it's just I'm okay.
Yeah.
But the little machine says I'm not.
Yeah, so exactly.
But hey, we got better news. We got great news. I mentioned this show has normally we talk about comic book news, and there wasn't a whole lot. There's always comic book news. There's always news in the comic book industry, but not all of it is sexy enough for us to really boost the show. So I don't have much, but I did promise a big announcement, and we'll talk about that later in the program.
Okay.
Right? What, you think we should talk about it now?
No, wait.
See? Yeah. But I should say that there was a little bit of speculation in the chat. Of course, if you're watching the show live, or if you're not watching the show live, you can catch it Mondays around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come by, subscribe to the channel, click the bell for notifications, and click that thumbs up button. It helps us out somehow. I don't know how. But there was some speculation, I should say. It is not merch. And big apologies to those who bought things during our window of opening for comicpopshop.com. We did sell out of everything. Everything is packaged. Everything is ready to go. But I left for Comic-Con immediately after we sold out of everything. And then I got this, and I don't want to do anything. Like I don't want, not that I don't want to do anything, but I don't want to like mess it up. So for now, it's just everything's packaged, everything's ready to go. But I can't go to the post office, but I will. And if you need proof, I'll take a picture of the stacks and post it on Instagram. But I promise, I'm looking right at everyone's orders, and they're all boxed, they're ready to go. So that will go out. But the big announcement we have is not more merch. We will have more merch, but that would not be a big announcement. That's more like an exciting thing that I want to share with you guys. And it was a big announcement when we announced that we actually had a store and we had merchandise in general, but we sold that. That's, we're going to do another one. I wouldn't say like, oh, we have another big announcement and it's more stuff to buy from us. No. I promise. It's not, it's bigger. It's cooler. Anyway.
I mean, yes. I mean, listen, our merch is cool. Absolutely.
It's great.
But this is, I know what this announcement is, and it is cooler.
It's big. It's huge.
It's cooler. It's very important.
Unprecedented.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Not to hype it up in any way, but let's get into some comic books.
Okay. Why not? That's what this show is about, after all.
That's very true.
That and watching me, since you normally can't see my phone, remembering that I didn't do any social post.
No, that's okay. I did some of it. So
I like to help out.
Well,
so while Sal is getting into that, I'm gonna you're gonna watch me.
Yeah, well, you can look at her do that. But in the meantime, I read Spider-Man: Shadow of the Green Goblin, #4 from J.M. DeMatteis and Michael Santamaria.
That I didn't read it, but that cover, unbelievable,
right?
I love that cover.
Yeah,
yes.
I agree. I think it's a fun cover. It's funny because this is a time-honored comic book trope, is breaking the title or messing with it. I think one of the earliest ones was an X-Men book where it wasn't Jean. It was actually, I think it predates Jean. A character's like messing with the Uncanny X-Men, titling. And it's always fun. I always like when they do it. But this is an interesting one because stark white background.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for this type of thing. I really am. Like, I very much am. I'm like, oh, look at them. They're breaking some sort of like graphic design fourth wall and like it, like, fighting their way through it. But like this one does it really well without having too much going on. I also love the fact that like the corner image, it looks like the Green Goblin is reacting to what's happening.
Yeah, he should be. He's looking at the reader, but I wish his pupils were looking at the type. Like, no, they broke the book.
He's like, are you seeing this?
I'm not wild about the starburst on it. The final fate of the proto goblin.
Oh, see, to me that looked like it was like also falling.
I think it would be like that no matter what was happening with the title, but I wish it were incorporated in some way where it's like maybe it was like the words were falling. And it said like the final fate. Like that'd be kind of fun. But look, we're giving it its flowers. Let's enjoy the cover. I don't mean to suggest that it's anything other than stellar. But yeah, this is a good book. Of course, written by J.M. DeMatteis. So you know that there's a lot of not metaphor, but it's about something, and that like
is it
there's this character. No. There's a proto goblin test subject of Norman's. Also, Norman's thought dead wife has returned. Also, it's a retcon book that takes place before Peter met Gwen and Harry, but Harry and Gwen are in the book, and so it's doing a lot of juggling. You could tell that like JM is just having fun. He's like, okay, so this is a retcon book. It's set in the past, but it's not going to be set in the way past. It's going to be, and I'm going to have to play with time. And I think JM is playing with his own continuity because in it, it's told from the first person perspective of Peter, even though it takes place in multiple people's heads and locations. And JM plays with that by being like, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but I assume based on conjecture and information I got that it's something like this. And I'm like, that's unreliable. I don't care for it. But at the same time, it also frees JM to not be 100% correct if it's wrong or if he wants to contradict himself in the future. So I get it. But it was distracting. But also within it, Peter is telling that story, this story we're reading from the future, thinking about it. And so in his timeline, Aunt May is dead. And I'm like, okay, so is Peter telling the story like what? To Ben during the Clone Saga after Aunt May died, but before she was resurrected? Or is this in a further future where Aunt May definitely died post One More Day? Whatever, who cares? And like the fact is, no one does, and so it's just kind of fun to read.
People care.
I think people do care, but not enough to argue. They're just kind of like, oh, okay, or no one's thinking about it.
Right.
But anyway, the art's the art is consistent and fun and a little more grounded than your standard comic book or Spider-Man fare. The faces are a lot more deliberate and specific, but not in a Deodato Jr. I modeled Norman Osborn directly off of screen caps of Tommy Lee Jones kind of way. More like in that's an old man. Like, look at all those wrinkles, that kind of thing. You're like, this is like a little inglorious, but in a consistent and I think honest way. The action's fun. Spider-Man looks great, and the Proto Goblin. Who cares? Like, and JM knows it. Like the cover is like Proto Goblin because like that's the only thing I can sell.
Sure,
but
sure.
The reality is the book is about how Aunt May and Peter lie to each other and themselves because they're both traumatized by the loss of the most important person in their lives, Uncle Ben.
Right.
And
okay.
JM justifies their behavior and how they act ridiculous in like Stan Lee books and explains it using like an emotional through line. And so that's the explanation, and so it's really more about like, do Peter and Aunt May reconcile? Of course they do. But how do they do that? And how do they set themselves up for the future? This is how it goes.
So like DeMatteis,
yes.
Right? We tend to always have good things to say about him.
It's true.
Do you feel like people know about him but don't really consider him to be like a superstar artist or writer necessarily?
Absolutely. I think that
why?
I think it's because, well, there's a number of factors I think about why JM is so often under the radar, so to speak. And because I think he'd resent the idea that he is like a niche writer or that people don't recognize, his contributions because
sure.
Because he is J.M. DeMatteis and he is the inventor of the multiverse. But like the fact is, he is probably responsible for one of your top 5 favorite Spider-Man stories if you are a die-in-the-wool Spider-Man fan.
Sure.
Just regardless of what era you're thinking of, he probably contributed in some significant factor.
Yeah.
But he does it in such a seamless, unceremonious way. Like he makes it so that it's always been there, even if it's only just being introduced. Like the Shadow of the Green Goblin is a book that explains, the timelines between like, Busick's Spider-Man retcon books and Stanley and Steve Ditko stories, and like before John Romita Jr. or John Romita Sr. took over, like he's putting in his mark on Spider-Man, and you read it, and he's done it a million times before, but like when he does, you go, oh, it's always been there.
Right.
But I mean, like, he's also a gentleman and a scholar, and as a result, he doesn't like make a big stink about it.
Sure.
His books have been famously out of print for so long. And he'll champion himself. He'll be like, well, they're available in Italy. I wish they were available, blah, blah, blah. But he doesn't like make a big show of it. But honestly, I don't think I have a good reason for why he's not like on the tip of everyone's tongue.
Yeah. Because it's like we talk about him and you often hear him reference, but it's never like someone's like go to like who's one of your favorite writers.
Yeah.
And it's like he could be there, but like it's like you said, like he's just so quiet about it.
He is.
I did see that he's getting like DC's publishing some sort of omnibus for his Dr. Fate.
They're getting a Dr. Fate omnibus. It's gonna be like $30, and it's coming out I think in October. Folks, pre-order this omnibus if you want to know anything about Dr. Fate, because the fact is, I know virtually nothing, next to nothing about Dr. Fate. Anything I know about Dr. Fate comes from the times when his helmet is incorporated into comic books, or when he is seldom used in the Justice League cartoon.
There you go. Yeah.
Or when he was a woman that one time.
Right.
But this is probably going to be the book. Like outside of every other interpretation of, Dr. Fate, this will be the book that like, if you read it, you'll be like, oh, okay, I know who that character is.
Right. Yeah.
We're going to get that. Like I'm going to pre-order that book so you can read it.
I think that's fair. I'd love to do that. Cause I actually I know Dr. Fate in terms of his interactions when he was on Justice League Dark. and it was like a different iteration, and
Yeah.
so like I know a little bit of that, and like Lords of Order and all that, and Chaos, and like so it's like I have like some like glimpse, but I'm not like a huge Dr. Fate girly, which
No
is
one
so
is.
funny because like no, there are people out there who are like fans of Dr. Fate, but like everyone automatically goes like, well, Doctor Strange is Dr. Fate, like, and I'm like, well, yes, they both have PhDs, presumably.
Right.
But I don't know. Like I sometimes I feel like when it comes to magic in the DC and the Marvel universe that there isn't like an equivalent one for one because they all kind of like touch on different elements. But it's just funny because it's like I think part of the thing too for DeMatteis is that like he writes characters who he makes bigger but are like presumably smaller. Like they have a smaller fan base. That's Spider-Man excluded from that one, of course.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like people know who Dr. Fate is, but not everyone's been like, wow, I have read such a run on Dr. Fate, but they're aware of him. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I think he's just like he's like a quiet like workhorse and like
Yes.
force in the community, in the comic book writing community.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about it while we were doing the show. Sometimes when we do this show like this, my brain operates a little differently.
Well, because
Like
this is more of a like actual kind of podcast-esque
yeah,
format
yeah.
rather than when you're just sitting next to me and it's easy.
Yeah,
to
and
just
I'm not
sort of,
like
get
watching
lost.
you do like I'm not watching you like, you know, pull all the
Gesticulate
things.
is the term.
Well, no,
yeah.
do all the things to make the show go. Like I'm just
sure.
focused on the show itself.
You're
so
just being again. You're just being.
I'm just on the show.
Yeah, you're 50% of the show.
I'm just on
But
the show.
I completely agree. I should also point out I believe, and I read this from the horse's mouth, so to speak, but I think Marvel is finally going to publish an omnibus of his run on Spectacular Spider-Man.
Oh, they
with Sal
should.
Buscema. That's coming out
should.
like that. They announced both of them in the same go. They were like, we're getting a Dr. Fate Omni, and we're getting a Spectacular Spider-Man Omni. Folks, if you haven't read J.M. DeMatteis and largely, I believe, Sal Buscema's art on Spectacular Spider-Man, it'll be some of your favorite Spider-Man books ever. Like you'll read it and go, oh, that's why Sal has such a problem with Amazing Spider-Man today. Or oh, that's why I vaguely remember liking Maximum Carnage because like 1/10 of that book is him.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
That's it. You know, so so pre-order those books, folks. And actually, I wanted to take a minute and actually show a little bit about how to do that.
Ooh,
would that be kind of fun?
That'd be kind of fun. Are we doing it right now?
Yeah, why not? Let's do it.
Oh my god, I had no idea. Like legitimately.
Yeah.
So it seems like maybe I started this conversation so that we could fake get here, but no, that's just we're just doing it.
So let me show you two ways of pre-ordering your books. This is like, because everybody talks about like, how do you pre-order? I don't know. It's really complicated. I hate it, blah, 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 blah. Just take a second. We're going to talk about it right now. Here's number one. Let's say your comic book store is Zap Comics in Wayne, New Jersey. Call up Zap Comics and you go, hey, Corey, it's me, Sal. I'd like to pre-order the following books. Oh, and by the way, there's a book I'm reading right now that I don't really care for. Could you cancel this book for me? There you go. That's how you pre-order your books. That's the first way to do it. The other way is if you don't have a comic book store or if you're looking for a comic book store and you're not sure how it works. So here we go. What I do is I go to Previews World. There are many ways to do it. This is, for me, the easiest and most simplistic way to do it. What you do is you set up your pull box through Previews World. You create an account, you set yourself up, and then you declare what your comic book store is. Now, in my case, I have a number of comic book stores, and I don't pre-order enough of my books, which is my cross to bear. But I don't pre-order enough books because I get books from all over. Like I go to Comic Fortress, I go to Dewey's, I go to Zap Comics, I go everywhere to get my comic books. But there are a couple of books that I want to make sure I never miss. And those books are pre-ordered through Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. This is not a plug, hashtag not sponsored. It's just what I use with when it comes to, to pre-ordering. So when it comes to Previews World, I set up my pull box through Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash. And all you have to do is you go to your shop section over here and you manage your shops. You look it up. You just click the button and then you can basically just add a shop. You search your zip code and you find yourself a store that is somewhere near where you would live or shop. That's it. And once you set that up, then you got yourself your pull box. And this is how easy it is. Okay. Now, when it comes to Jay and Silent Bob's Secret Stash, they ship your books. So I don't have to worry about like going there. And that's for a lot of folks who don't live near a comic book store. You can declare your comic book store to be J and Bob's or Midtown Comics in Manhattan. Those stores will ship your books to you directly. and they'll
That's
do
nice.
it in a pretty timely manner. Like when it comes to
Yeah.
Jay and Bob's, I get my week's worth of books every week. Like when the books when they get them on Tuesday, I get them on Wednesday or Thursday. So then you simply go to the search function and you look for your book. Like, for example, Dynamite is coming out with a Terminator book in October. So you go Terminator, and pretty much that's all you really even need to punch in if it's a timely manner. So you know what the book looks like as you watch Off the Rack. Boom, that's the cover I remember. And all you have to do is you can pre-order that one issue. You can hit pre-order and they'll send you. They'll make sure they reserve an issue for you and they'll mail it to you. Or you can hit the subscribe button. Now, in this case, when you hit the subscribe button, boom, now you've got the book. Keep my subscription until I cancel, or I want to end my subscription on a specific issue. How convenient is that? So let's say you want the first 5 issues only. You simply click that, and you tell them I want the first 5 issues, right? But in my case, I don't need to worry about that. I'm going to keep the subscription until I cancel it. So I'm going to hit the subscribe button. Boom. Now I don't have to think about it anymore. That's it. Jay and Bob's gets a little notification. Mike over at Jay and Bob's is going to send me a box every time that a new Terminator book comes out, comes to my house. That's it. Right?
Yeah.
That's how easy and simple it is. I just wanted to point it out because it's been a subject that people have been wondering about or speculating about or arguing with for a long time. And I was like, let's take a second and just show you how to pre-order.
Oh, absolutely. Because it's like, yes, for some people, jumping on a call could be easy. But for other people, we don't want to do that.
Well, and for most people, I completely understand the idea of not wanting to ever talk to anyone ever, especially in the age we are in now. But the other thing is, most folks that I know don't live near a good comic book store, and they don't want to deal with the hassle of like traveling 30, 50, 75 minutes to go to a comic book store. So in this case, you're still supporting a store and you're getting your books, and you don't have to worry about anything else. So
exactly,
there you have it.
I love it. So good.
Anyway, I also read X-Force #1. I don't know about you.
Oh, okay. I had something else ready to go, but fine.
Oh, well, please take it away.
I was going to talk about Hellverine.
Oh, the Hellverine. I remember you were talking about that book to me earlier.
Yeah. Hellverine #3 came out this week from Ben Percy and Julius Ota.
Yep.
And this book is initially I was like, I think it's actually the penultimate issue. I think there's only 4 issues of this.
Yeah, I remember you were kind of lukewarm on the first 2 issues.
Well, no, I wasn't lukewarm on the first 2 issues. I was lukewarm on the concept for sure.
Right.
Like the concept, I was like, but that seems bankrupt. We already did this. We already like saw Hellverine. What could you possibly? How will you get the situation to happen again? Are you going to tell us stories that happened in between the panels of like the 3 issues he was in? What the heck, right? They're like, nah. Nah, we're gonna do something different. We're gonna give it to Dakin, who has died.
Good use of that character because you got to do something with these extra Wolverines lying around.
Yeah, well, Dakin had been around, but then like Sabretooth War took him right off the table, and Percy's like, let's do something fun with that, right? Like I'm gonna use that, something I helped set up with Victor Lavelle, and then I'll do something with Hellverine and Bagragul or whatever, however you say his name. It sounds like I'm ordering something in an Italian deli when I say Bagragul.
I can say that because, my last name is Italian.
This issue gets a little bit more like it feels like Percy's like, oh no, like I only have like 1 more issue left. I should probably like introduce some of these characters a little bit more so we get a little backstory on like our villain, which helps because you're like it sets us up for something later on for some sort of fight, right?
Sure.
And it also by the end of this, like it shows Wolverine trying to do something heroic and like fatherly, and it maybe not working out the way he wanted it to. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Like Wolverine's like, I'm gonna do this thing, and I think this is the right thing to do, and then it's like, was it? Did it? I mean, that's kind of a Wolverine in the first 2 issues of this too, so very consistent. I really, really kind of enjoy this book. Like I said, like before issue 1, I would have been like, really?
Yeah.
I like this. All right, fine. But like it's just kind of fun. It's one of those like it's almost a little bit more what I kind of wish the Ghost Rider Wolverine book had been, where it's just like here's the thing that's happening over here.
Unrelated to what's happening in the greater narrative, right?
Yeah, it's just kind of happened over here. Like I really love the idea of like Wolverine Ghost Rider, and like I said, toss Punisher in there. Might as well do another Hearts of Darkness. Have those guys get back together. He's not in this.
No.
And Ghost Rider's not. Yes, and Ghost Rider's not in this either. But it is, you know,
There's a flaming skull in this
it's
book.
ancillary. It's like they're next to it.
Yeah.
So
They're
this is
Ghost Rider
fun.
adjacent, yes.
Yeah, for sure. You know, like I said, like I think it's only 4 issues, so
Yep, it is.
you know, I think we will you know, have a lot of people who probably haven't read this maybe pick it up when it's all, you know, said and done. You
Collected.
might enjoy this. It's like it's a fun little read if you like Ben Percy's voice for Wolverine. He's in this, but it is much more about kind of the world that's happening around him and the decisions he makes. But like, there's just a lot of fun things going on, cool characters, and you know, a lot of violence. Someone gets like part of their face bitten off in this. So it's
All
like,
right.
you know, Percy showed us in obviously his Sabretooth War that he's not afraid of violence. And like in this is very much like my level of like, I enjoy this type of violence because it is like supernatural based, where I'm just like, oh my gosh, like what? You can do whatever you want, basically. You know, get that magical card in a way. It says like, nah, go for it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoyed this book, and I'm looking forward to the last issue to see how we all wrap this up. And honestly, the future of Daken. I'm not a huge like Daken fan, but I've gotten to know him a little bit through Krakoa and his relationship a little bit with Wolverine. So I'd like to see how this turns out. This issue kind of makes it feel like I know how this is going to turn out, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
There's an ace up someone's sleeve, some sort of adamantian like sort of ace. I don't know. So we got that, and I also wanted to give a quick shout out. I'm not going to get really into it because I didn't fully get to really read it because I like to take my time with it.
Yes.
But as a heads up, everybody, if you missed it, Saga came back. Saga number 67 came back this past week. I was talking, a couple of people I've talked to about this book have had the exact same complaint. I literally, during San Diego Comic-Con, talked to 2 different people. We talked about Saga, and like they brought up the exact same thing. And both were people who had jumped on the Saga bandwagon post it coming, like the first couple of volumes coming out. So people weren't used to that break system where it's like they do like a season break, you know, like TV used to do this thing where they'd be like, here's a season, and they go on break, and then here's some more shows, right? Cool, whatever. And Saga kind of did this, but then Saga took its huge break, and a lot of people were like, oh, I guess it's over. And I was like, I don't think it's over. I think they'll come back one day. I honestly thought they were going to come back not in monthlies. I thought they were just going to come back and drop like trades, graphic novels.
That's a smart move.
They didn't. But for a lot of people, like now that they're back to doing their standard schedule of the like, here's a bunch of issues and then a break, people keep thinking every time the break hits that they're like, oh, well, they're not coming back. And it's like, no, they are. This is actually very standard for them.
Yeah.
But I feel like, you know, if you have people who are finally jumping into Saga who are coming from a mainstream comic book reading list in a way, if you're reading more like Marvel, DC, even some other Image books, they just come out monthly. They come out monthly for as long as the book runs until it stops running or like writers change or it changes titles or whatever. So they may not be used to the idea that Saga would be like, well, here's like 6-8 issues. Now we're going to take a little break and we'll come back, you know, strong, which they always do. They come back strong.
Yes.
But for me, it's not such a big deal. The world of Saga is so large at times for me that it feels like there's no way I could possibly remember everything. And then they refresh my memory on something and I'm like, oh, there it is. So I don't really worry about like forgetting month to month. But for a lot of people, this book is something where they prefer at this point to just read it in trades. And I feel you. I get you 100%. I will say this issue, from what I've read of it so far, Vaughn hasn't lost a step, and like there's something about Fiona Staples' work that is like baffling to me in that she remains so consistent and yet her work somehow evolves. Like I can't figure that out. Where like I'm like, it's slightly different, and it's like you can see her like style shifting slightly, like just a little bit. But she's so consistent. She's so freaking consistent. Also, if you're not a fan of clowns, there's clowns in this one. So.
Geez.
Well, like clown people, clown whatever,
Okay.
just clown.
Fantastic.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. You know what's interesting is this book has somehow managed, just like despite the fact that it has such an expansive universe and so many characters, and it has resisted the siren call of the spinoff.
Oh, it has resisted the siren call of the spinoff. I mean, I know Vaughn was pretty staunchly against it being in any other medium. I feel like one day he will change his tune on that, just because that's the nature of that. Which you just
Kirkman will come a calling.
And be
and
like, listen,
dedicate like 3 floors of his studio to being like, we're just gonna make Saga, and
right,
it could go on for 12 years, and then it'll get canceled.
right.
You know,
Although, like, his, his experience with Paper Girls might have shook his confidence in something like that. I don't know. I sincerely hope they never do it. I know a lot of people
everyone
want it.
wants
Everybody
everybody
wants
wants
it.
their comic books to be legitimized by the big brother of media, which I'm like, the book was made to be a comic book. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. It was made to be a comic book. That's the way that Vaughn thought about it. Um, and I'd love to have it like stay in that way because there's no way they can resist making changes.
Oh,
And it's like every
we know
frame of
this.
that book, every word that is selected, the facial expressions or moments that Fiona chooses to show, they're really important
Yeah,
overall. So I hope one day they don't, but I feel like they will.
yeah.
And hopefully if they do, it expands the audience and brings new readers in, who can be mystified, baffled, and saddened by everything that happens within that book. Anyway,
Indeed.
I just wanted to bring that up. Remind you all, if you were waiting for it to come back, it always comes back quiet. It's like,
Yes.
it's here. And then like usually 2 or 3 issues later, people are like, wait, Saga's back? And I'm like, yeah, sorry. I
Yeah.
tried. I tried.
Right. So, yeah, but still recommended, folks.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
By the way, if you would just left it on your pre-order list, you'd just be getting Saga copies. Like,
Right, right. But
it just arrive in your house, and you'd be like,
but I
oh,
definitely understand people who maybe if they did have it on their pre-orders when they took off years, I get people who might have pulled that being like, well, that's not coming back.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I read X-Force #1 from
So did
Jeffrey
I.
Thorne and Marcus Toe. Fantastic. We got a chance to talk about it. This is yet another of the X-Men titles that spun out of the fall of Krakoa.
Yeah.
I picture Krakoa kind of like this beautiful sculpture that fell on the ground and it shattered into like a million pieces, and some of those pieces were bigger and others were smaller, and some of them became other things while others were just big jagged hard pieces of rock.
Okay.
I don't consider X-Force to be one of the rocks. I think this actually became something. This is a genuine pitch and an
Yeah.
actual idea. It has
Yes.
no and it has a very tenuous tie to Krakoa, but not in a way where they're just like this is not a like a funereal march after Krakoa, where it's like Krakoa's gone and we're just so sad it's over. Nor is it a like, thank God Krakoa's dead. Now we can finally get to business. This is something else.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously reading these, I've been like feeling myself kind
Let's
of
try. Let's
trying,
please.
but also exiting from the world of X-Men for the time being.
Yeah.
We had said I promised I would try at least 1 or 2 issues of each book
Yes.
before I made my decisions moving forward. But this is the first book out of the like foyer into like post Krakoa X reading that actually made me feel not like I was reading a book from Krakoa, but it had that same spirit and it made me feel like this team actually evolved out of the events of Krakoa as opposed to being a hard stop and here's something new where we throw words about Krakoa into it. This felt very much like a natural progression from where a lot of these characters came from and where they are now. I
like you couldn't have had this book without Krakoa, as opposed to those last couple of X-Men books where it's like that was just sitting in a drawer just waiting to show up.
yeah. No, I mean, could you? For
You
sure.
could
It
have done it
just
without Krakoa, but it's like if you're like you said, feels like a natural progression out of it.
it does. It does feel like it is very much like, like here's the line and here we go. And like maybe
Yeah.
it'll go somewhere else from here. But like this book seemed to try to hold in reverence where it came from, but also let you know, like, hey, there's a new team and we're doing something else. But like I don't want to just throw out the baby with the bathwater, essentially. I really dug the idea that we're going on these like little mini adventures. It really gives us an opportunity to kind of get our feet wet with these
Yep.
characters, where it's like, yes, there is like some actual stakes. It's like, oh, it's world-ending stakes, but it's like quiet world-ending stakes, which feels very X-Forcey in and of
Yeah.
itself. Something is going down in the world we don't want everyone to know about necessarily. This team will take care of it. but also not in such a way where it's like we don't have time to get to know this team. We're going to get to see this team working together. I feel like Thorne's really doing a good job of balancing new readers who might be jumping on, being like, I didn't care about Krakoa. I'm going to try this out, see how X-Force is going. Where it's like, hey, you may not remember, like, know everything that happened during the Krakoa era for these characters. We're going to balance that information for you. So if you are a reader who came from Krakoa, you're rewarded.
Yeah.
It's not such a slog to get through like too much backstory for sure. And then of course, like Marcus To, I love Marcus To when he was working on Shang-Chi with Jean Luen Yang. He's just again, it's like he's a really fantastic, elevated artist, a lot of great kinetic energy. It's funny at the very beginning, the first few pages of this, there's like a voiceover, right? And like, Toe's really like putting himself out there, and Thorne's like got the storyline going. And initially I was just like, I didn't really love those first few pages because I didn't know who they were talking about. And then I realized it was a misread on my part. I went back through and I looked at it again. I was like, it's all right in front of me.
Yeah.
It's all right in front of me for sure. And I just didn't see it. So like I was like, let me give it like one more read through, because the rest of the issue was so well put together and the storyline was like, here it is. So it's like, clearly I must have messed up. And I did. And I 100% did, went back through and I was like, got it. I completely get where I was supposed to be looking as opposed to looking at Wolverine, which is definitely what I was doing.
And I'm sure most readers were as well. I had the exact same problem. I, however, did not get my footing when it came to the first 2 pages. The book carries on regardless with an effortless quality that I was like plussed to see. I was like, all right, way to go. Like, but I had trouble really getting into the heads of characters that I was already not familiar with, like Sage and Surge, and we're meeting Tank for the first time. I still don't really have a good fit for them, but I will say that this was a great way to introduce in a competent way like what Forge actually does. I was like, oh, this actually really like cogently explains how Forge's powers work.
Right.
Which I really appreciated.
That's really funny because like for me, I was like, Sage being there, Ascani, Captain Britain, Forge. I've been seeing them interact with each other. Deadpool being tossed in there. Great.
The Deadpool use was brilliant.
Perfect synergy. Perfect to be like, we're getting him in here. Obviously, I feel like Deadpool is definitely associated with X-Force. Post Krakoa, very weird, but like really great use of him without like leaning too heavily on everything that happened with him throughout Krakoa times. Yep. Really smart. I liked that a lot. But people like Surge, who like I was very unfamiliar with, and Tank even, like I'm like, we're gonna get that information, but I think that's actually coming from my reading of the Krakoa time period, where I was like, I don't know a lot of these characters, and I just trusted the teams would take care of me.
That's fair.
And maybe that's what I'm feeling. Like this book felt comfortable for me because I had like faith in the team that the team wasn't gonna let me drown.
That's fair. That's a good point.
Like I had a tether because of my reading of X-Force here and there. More of it ended up being I was reading it towards the end, like I was reading X-Force constantly.
Yeah.
So I knew a lot of these players, but the ones I didn't, I was like, well, this team, they're gonna take care of me. They'll give me the information I need as we go along, or I can look it up if I want to.
Absolutely. The twist of like the McCoy concept and it being tied in with Hank, and I'm like, I wonder if that's going to come to bite them in the ass. The concept of the cracks in the world and them pursuing these kind of like clandestine adventures that no one will ever thank them for, that hopefully will save the world. Like, it's a smart move and a good use of the team. Everyone has a favorite iteration of X-Force, whether it's like the like Black Ops Sharp version, or the Kill Crew, or the like 90s Liefeld, or the off the books Krakoa Assassins. This is like another one. Like it doesn't feel like it's trying to be any of them. It just seeks to be its own thing, while also intelligently putting Deadpool on the front cover and using him in a fun way that it is shoehorned in, but it knows it and it's doing it deliberately, and it uses him in a plot reason that I was pleased was pulled off. It's like, look at that. Like, look at that use of Dead. Like, good call on Forge as well. It makes me like care about what he's doing. So
Yeah, you know, like Forge is one of those guys. He's always around. He always has a role to play. Often he's a Deus Ex Machina like esque character. He has been
yep.
obviously in fuller stories than just being used as that, but
Yes.
really fun to just see like an emphasis on him, you
Yeah.
know, and like what he doing. Because
I
like
think a lot of people.
I feel like that's where like right now I feel about Forge. I'm like it's like Forge and what he doing. Like what is he
Yeah.
doing? I don't know. I
Yeah.
also like it's funny you mentioned clandestine or clandestine. I noticed that like Betsy said that, and I couldn't help but like wonder. I'm like, was that like a gentle nod at that like very little known team clandestine from like
Yes.
Marvel UK?
I
Was it
wonder.
Alan Davis? Was it?
Alan Davis, poor Alan Davis. Yeah. He tried really hard, twice, I believe, to get clandestine working, and all he got was a tie-in to the Ms. Marvel show.
Yeah. That's like Shambhala being used as a Wi-Fi
As a Wi-Fi password. Smart. If you want to know what Shambhala really is, watch back issues, everybody.
Yeah, please do that. But overall, like this was welcome.
Yeah.
I haven't felt this positive or
Hopeful.
hopeful for much of the X-Men or X titles that have been coming out. It just felt they felt so drastically different and so like we gotta do this and this one's just like, hey, that's cool, we got this, don't worry.
And here's something else.
Like, yeah, here's something and you're gonna have a nice time and like we're pulling off a really good story. The art is so good. Like it's just the team feels like they're really working with like some like significant synergy, even though I hate that word. But like you feel it. You definitely feel it. Like it's just this book felt effortless and like almost like it might end up having a little bit of that Nightwing problem where it's like it's going really well, so no one's gonna like, you know,
buy it,
worry about it, or like be like, oh gosh, like this is just a good book. Like I just enjoyed this. And like this might end up being the only book I'm reading. We'll see, you know, as they keep rolling out or second issues of series that I've already read the first of roll out. But like for this one, I was like, yeah, like I will definitely be looking forward to an issue 2 of this. I mean, a lot of these characters were ones I enjoyed when they were involved in other X teams. So like that already is an easy sell for me. But you know, it's just like a good story with some stakes that make sense for these characters and the art's great. Like, I'm in.
Yeah. Marvel's delivering on that a lot because Bloodhunt ended just this past week, and we got Jed MacKay and Pepe Larraz's final issue of that series/event that plagued the Marvel Universe and has consistently been excellent.
Yes.
Despite everything, like despite Marvel and the concept, which seems a little too niche. I mean, your antagonist is first it's Blade, and then it's actually Blade possessed by Varney, who's another niche character, you know, and yet...
How dare you? No,
I'm sorry, but I calls him like I sees him, and in this case, like, you know, and then introducing a whole host of characters that no one give two craps about, the Blood Coven, and yet it all
I care. I think they're great.
I think that they are the children of Thanos, but evil, like, but more, but like, you know, but made in the Midnight Sun's office.
No, we've seen this before from McKay, so I'm like, whatever. Like, for me, this is like obviously I'm going to be reading this. Obviously, this book goes the way it does because I've been reading McKay for a while now. So yeah.
But it is great, and yet, despite the fact that, like, because I know what has been happening with McKay, at least from the supernatural side, because neither of us would read Avengers, I knew where this was going, and how good and approachable it was, despite it being written by the guy who's writing like the Moon Knight book and the what's the other one, the Doctor Strange book, and yet also incorporating those characters. So it's like, all right, you know what, this is cool. Controversial stuff, but also sets up things like, obviously, Doctor Strange, the book is ending.
Well, remember I had suggested that, like, I was like, this is where we're gonna get like a different title because he did that with Vengeance of the Moon Knight, right? Like, and I'm pretty sure that's exactly what's happening. And I'm down. I'm here for it. Obviously, this issue made me feel like, you know, Jed MacKay, are you a big fan of Triumph and Torment?
What? No, of course not. Except for the fact that, like, so Doc and Doom make a deal, and I love the implications because, of course, like, yeah, you know what, like, Varney, all right, but like the implication here that, you know, Doom's like, well, in order for me to solve this problem, you're gonna have to make me Sorcerer Supreme. Right. And Doc going, did you make Blood Hunt happen just to do this. And I'm like, that's great. Like, that's so smart. Way to use Doom and set and prop up Doom.
Yeah.
I if I didn't know any better, I would suggest or imply that perhaps Jed MacKay may be aware of the inner workings at Marvel Studios. Thinking, we need a Secret Wars-esque event in the next 2 years that justifiably exists, that organically births from the books that people are largely reading at Marvel, that centers around Doctor Doom.
Oh, that's interesting. I hadn't thought that. I just sort of like, you could see the natural progression, you know what I mean, of MacKay bringing Doom in, just because if he was reading a lot of the same things, if he was reading a lot of the same things that I have read, it just, you're like, yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
But we get to see the Avengers avenge, the Moon Knight team up with everybody, and Doctor Strange and Clea working with Doctor Doom and the Strange Academy crew, and all these disparate concepts coalescing. We got Dracula and Miles. The rumors that Miles was going to continue to be a vampire after this event was over were true. So Miles is a vampire now. But also, it's funny because like I was just about to, argue against it, but the fact is, there needs to be elements in these like families of characters that separate them apart from the main character. And in Wolverine's case, like, you got a lot of Wolverines running around, but if one of those Wolverines who's like, the son of Wolverine and nobody wants to deal with him, if he's like a Hellverine, all right, puts him in another family of books, kind of separates him a little bit, makes him more distinct and interesting. With Spider-Man, one of them's a vampire.
Well, for now, I mean, obviously the end of this issue promised, like, One World Under Doom coming in November. Like, either we're doing another event that we're setting up for
an initiative.
Or an initiative.
Dark Reign.
And like, here's the thing. It's Doom, it's magic. Like, he sold one set of books to one person in New Jersey. 100%.
Yes. So true.
Like, obviously I'm buying this. I loved like Hickman's, God King Doom. I loved like Sheriff Strange. I ate that up with a spoon, right?
Yeah.
I
think you're gonna get that, by the way.
I just really,
in the movies.
Well, I would love that. Here's the thing. I think that, here's my hot take, I prefer the relationship between Doom and Strange than Doom and Reed Richards. I'm sorry. Like, I just think it's better.
It's certainly different.
It is different, but for me, it's better. Like,
you'd rather read about that. I love the
colleagues on like different levels. They're much like with he and Richards. Like, they are two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, intellectual equals with Reed, and magical equals with Strange.
But also, like, egotistically speaking,
right? Yeah, they reflect a lot of their qualities, maybe their worst qualities.
Yeah, that's just, it's a personal favorite. Not that I don't enjoy Reed and Doom, I do for sure, but like Steven and Doom, like, it's not always like butting heads. There's like this respect every time they're in a room with each other, even if they're like against one another.
Yeah,
I love it.
Doom. I think he's sick of him.
Who, Reed or?
Yeah, Reed.
Yeah.
No, I think Doc has almost like a naive respect for him. Like, Reed's like, you don't know him like I do. Don't respect him. That will only encourage him.
Well, sure, but like, he's also like, but like Steven's like, but you don't know what he like does. Like, you don't understand.
You don't know how. You don't know what he went through. And Reed's like, and I don't respect it either. Like,
right. And that's funny because yes, like Reed and Victor
Steve don't really get along.
Well, no, but like Reed and Victor have had a very long history.
Yes.
But Steven and Doom have also had their own history. One that was a very personal nature. They went on this one adventure, and it's like, no.
yeah.
Really,
and no one can forget it.
Yeah.
But overall, Blood Hunt was cool, and doesn't go right where I think it is, because obviously, Blade's daughter was set up to be, like, you need to be the instrument of death that kills Blade and slays Varney and all this stuff, and then it's like, they save the day at the end, obviously, 'cause it's not like the Marvel universe is plunged into darkness and death and vampires.
No,
but we don't dispatch Blade.
No, it's very cleverly done, and that's the thing about McKay when it comes to magic, and that's why it's like I'm not reading his Avengers necessarily, even though maybe I'll check it out when it's in trade. But he just has such a way of handling the like thing that would often be hand wavy for writers when it comes to magic, where it's just like, oh, it's because I say it is. He's like, no, you gotta be try to be clever about it.
Oh, the moment when Iron Man tells Wanda to cast the Montesi formula, you mean?
Well, there is that, but I was thinking more like when it's just like, it was prophesized that like she would do this because she's of his line, right? Like, oh,
Oh,
like
yes.
Blade's daughter would do this, but it's like Varney's like, but like this body that you see in front of you isn't just Blade anymore. It's basically me. So you're not of my line.
Right.
And then for Miles to show up and be like, but I am,
Because you
bitch.
made me. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
so great. No, it's a great
Like,
moment.
but that's one of those hand wavy things that you can be like, yeah, whatever. But like McKay's like, no, no, no. I needed to make some kind of like clever sense here. Like
Yes.
that's part of what magic is. It's like this cleverness, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Um,
and just that moment I was talking about earlier with Wanda, where she's like, "I'm not going to annihilate another group of people again,"
oh
and I was like,
yeah.
"That's really cool. What a great moment to explain to justify why they don't just do that." You know,
Yes.
it's great.
Yes. Yeah,
Cool.
it's right there on the table for sure. And I've had like criticisms about this book. I'm like, it's like, but why don't we just do this here? Like, why don't we just fix? Like,
Yeah.
you changed it so Miles could think. Why not Strange? Right? It's like
Right.
because we need, which is
I
when I
needed
was
him to
like,
be over here.
right, which is when it was clearly I was like, well, Doom's gonna become Sorcerer Supreme because we need Steven to not have this control right now.
Yes. Yes. And I also expected I like the moment where I mean we all saw it coming, but that moment when Doom is like, "Yes, when I save the world, I'll give it back." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Doc, how could you fall for that? You know he's just going to be like, and yes, and I'm going to do it by taking over." Like,
Yeah.
that was his provision. But like maybe Steve knows that.
Maybe he knows that, or maybe, it's maybe Doom does know something.
Well, maybe
And
Doom
like
and Strange know
that's
something. Like maybe they're both
right.
playing some game.
And that's the thing when it comes to like to Doc and other Doc, that
Yeah, the
like
docs.
the Docs, like, yeah, like it could be easy that it's just like, yeah, Doom is just being Doom and he's just being evil. Or it could be that Doom's like, no, I saw something and I feel like this is the best way to do it from my perspective.
Yeah, of course. From
From
my
my
point of
point of
view.
view.
Yeah, of course.
But no, this issue was great. Again, like another book from Marvel this week for me, where like the art was just next level. I felt like there were so many panels in this where Laraz was channeling Secret Wars.
Oh yeah.
Like when Doom is on page, it looks more like Secret Wars
Yeah, it should feel like that.
than it does the rest of the Blood Hunt book, and I love that. Like it is a conceited like effort and decision to do that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Especially as he is like conjuring magic. First of all, that is a gorgeous set of panels,
Oh
absolutely
yeah.
beautiful. But like the action sequences here, it just feels like he was like, I'm having a good time with this. This is the last issue. Let's go for it. Just
Yeah.
all the
Yeah,
big
pull out all the
guns coming
stops,
out.
go for
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what Laraz is on next. I can't
Yeah.
imagine McKay wanting to let him go, so we'll see where we go from here. But like, Blood Hunt is going to be. I think Blood Hunt is going to hopefully be because I remember like Fear itself was a gorgeous event that was just a bridge too far. Like it was asking a lot from its audience after so much stuff. And like,
Yeah.
Matt Fraction was like, I don't do these events. This is like a weird thing. But like with Imminent on it, it looked like a gorgeous book, but it's an oft forgotten and way too many tie-in event that no one thinks about.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't think Blood Hunt will suffer from it because there was no moment where Blood Hunt sucked. No
No,
pun intended.
well, I mean, definitely moments where it sucked because
Oh yeah, certainly. Well, yeah, exactly. But no moment where it like dragged or let anyone down. And if there were some duds of tie-ins, the tie-ins were so niche and so few and
so,
so few issues. Nobody read them anyway.
well, that's the thing, and that's what I'm actually looking forward to, and that's what I think is so spectacular about this event, and like
Yeah,
what I think should be celebrated about it is you could read these 5 issues of Blood Hunt really, I feel like, without having to read anything else, and
totally.
I think that says a lot about McKay's writing abilities, which is why I was so disappointed with his X-Men #1. I was like,
Yeah.
how are you doing this and that? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's pulled in too many directions, and now
Yep.
that this is over, X-Men can be little stronger, maybe a little bit more like X-Force felt for me this week.
Yeah.
But like I'm actually looking forward to checking out the ancillary books. Like this series did a good enough job where I'm like, I do want more. I do want to maybe see Dracula and Blade's daughter and what they were up to. Like obviously I was reading Moon Knight and Doctor Strange, but it wasn't because of their tie-ins. It was more like I just
You
was
were
reading
already
the
reading.
series. Yeah, so obviously I was going to read those, but they didn't add too much to this, other than like giving me additional story. I didn't need anything that was happening in there. So
Yeah, I agree.
I thought this was a pretty successful event. I know like event has become like a 4-letter word in a way. Like people are like, oh, don't say event. It gets people upset. People like talk about event fatigue, or like I think what it comes down to is just like people want big things to happen, but only if it's like guaranteed cool or good. And events are always a crapshoot because it's often a lot of books happening all at the same time, or that people are like, oh, I gotta read this then, or I gotta pick that up. Like it just becomes too much. Even if they want those moments, they want to have like the big, like big moments like in Civil War, or like big moments in I don't know. I was trying to come up with something more relevant, more recent.
Secret Wars had huge moments that
Secret
also
Wars.
had nothing to do with the event. Like ripping Thanos' skeleton is going to be a movie moment.
Oh, sure.
And yet has nothing to do with the plot.
Right. But like, I think the fact that these events, like, because this is like an event, but like, they happen so frequently. I think that they do lose their specialness.
Yeah.
And oftentimes the teams are involved. Maybe not everyone's on board, and you feel that, like, and so it gives you an excuse to feel that way as well.
Totally.
But I thought this was successful, and obviously part of it is just because of the fact that it was like supernatural magical based, and I love that. Like I'm like, oh yeah, this was great. Like for me, I've been having a lot of great Marvel events, but like not everybody loved AXE, not everybody loved Sins of Sinister,
or Reddit. The reality is, I think I understand people. I remember hearing one person at San Diego Comic-Con say like, I didn't like AXE, and I'm like, did you read it? But I feel like most people were just with AXE. They were just like, "You're asking a lot of me."
They were
asking
and
me
like
to have read Eternals. You're asking me to have understood what that means. You're asking me to get involved in another event.
There was a compressed timeline, and I know part of that was because of shipping and like printing issues. Like it was just like so much was coming out.
Kieran Gillen's writing it. Just trust the process.
Yeah.
People didn't, because I think Gillen's another one. Gillen's another DeMatteis, where it's like, if you handed J.M. DeMatteis an event, it would be so understated and interesting, and it'd be your favorite event, but you'd also you would take it for granted.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Kieran Gillen, where it's like it's smart and it's cool and it will deliver those moments and it won't be nihilistic. But you'll also take it for granted because like it's not sensational. And when I say sensational, I don't mean it's not good. It doesn't make that kind of sensation mark. It's the big moments are big character moments or big personal growth moments. They're not like the world explodes, except also the world explodes. So like, I don't know.
Also for sure. Yeah.
Right.
I also want to give a shout out to our third co-host here, because I'm home. You get to see any of our cats, and Wash has shown up because he's telling me it's past dinner time for him, and it technically is. But that means he'll sit here with us. As long as I don't pet him too much, then he won't keep spinning around. So someone asked like, how big is this cat? I'm like, for an orange tabby, he's actually not huge, but he is a big boy.
It's true. Yeah, I used to think he was big until I like saw Cat Talk, and I'm like, what are these monsters? People have like pumas living in their houses.
Yeah.
This guy's just he's like a size of a bread box.
But like
he can fit inside a bread box.
Yeah, he's a big guy though.
Yeah, he's a big boy. Do you have any others besides the main book?
The main event. Main event. No, I think we're good.
All right. Well, then Ultimate Spider-Man #7 from Marco Cicchetto and Jonathan Hickman is here.
Hell yeah.
Threatening to, to have some big ramifications for the Marvel Universe and Spider-Man in general. This is... Okay, so first of all, Cicchetto's doing some great stuff. The character work is awesome. There were a couple of moments that I felt were not as... Cicchetto is in dangerous territory where he may end up having issues like he did with Devil's Reign. Devil's Reign was his event. It was his first event, and he needed time, and sometimes he had to not cut corners, but it was just like the art suffered. It didn't suffer to the point where it was bad, but when Cicchetto has like a page that blows your mind, it's like it delivers, and it's just like it's tough to do that on a 30-page schedule every month.
Yes.
It's why Cicchetto needs the time to grow. This issue in particular, there were cool moments, the art is consistently good, but I was like, I don't even know. I feel like I was a little worried for him.
Really?
Yeah, a couple of moments where it wasn't a stumble, but it was more like, oh, that is not as dynamic as I would have expected. And I don't know if that's, I think that's really more my problem than it is Marco's problem.
Okay.
But it's still great. This is where people saying, I need to see Jonathan Hickman take over Amazing Spider-Man. I can't say I agree with you, because this is such a weird book. It's good and I love it. But it's weird. Because we'll take these deviations and I'm like, where are you going? And I think it may be because I'm just a battered Spider-Man fan and I'm like, what are you doing? But
okay, fair.
But like, they're making these decisions and we're in such uncharted waters and we're in such an unfamiliar territory that when we do get to familiar places or we're dealing with familiar characters, I'm like, when Bendis was doing Ultimate Spider-Man, Bendis was subverting expectations in a cheeky, independent, subversive way that was also personally and fan-wise gratifying.
Yeah.
For me, a character who acknowledges the trope that they are about to enter into and then sidesteps it, that's candy to me.
Okay.
I'm like, I am so on board. Hickman is the opposite of that, where he will subvert your expectations and I'm like, no, but we're leaving the comfortable. We're going someplace else now.
Okay.
And I don't have the bandwidth to trust that it'll be good or that that I'm safe, and that's the mark of a good book, is that I don't feel safe. But but anyway, it's still fun. It's more like every other issue I'm like
So I feel like he might still be doing a sidestep.
Oh yeah, he is.
Like I think that I think this might be a little bit of your battered Spider-Man viewership coming out for sure. Because to me I was like I can't tell if you're like setting us up to go down the same rabbit hole but a different way, or you're setting us up to think we're going down there but actually we're going a different way.
I don't know what kind of writer he is in that regard, because everything I've read of his is more constructive and just adding to. Unless you count the Beyonders, but like outside of that, like it's all just I'm world building, I'm making new stuff. We have this new situation here. Well, here's some new characters that will bring out something new out of our old characters. But still, it's with Spider-Man, it's like we missed all the Spider-Man stuff for his entire life. Now we got to speed run it.
Yeah, okay.
Harry's like, I got to speed run my trauma. My father is dead and I am free of him, but I'm going to create a situation where he lives rent-free in my head, literally.
Well,
and I'm like, oh no.
Right, which I enjoyed. I was like, this is brilliant. Like, you think this is a great idea, and but maybe this is an opportunity for growth.
It could be. I mean,
maybe it's just a growth opportunity for
right?
Harry.
But like, what about Peter? Like, is Peter a narcissist, or is it that he is? We're getting the internal monologue of Peter Parker in a new way.
I think it might be that, and maybe it's also like a sort of psychological choice for him to choose his own self to be the voice of the suit, or the AI in the suit, because maybe he's at a moment or a crossroads where he's like, I don't really know myself. If like part of my life has been taken away from me, like I don't know who I am, and maybe this AI, this machine will be smarter than I am and be able to tell me. And maybe Peter will find out that he doesn't need that. He's just like, no, I know who I am.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that. That sounds dangerous to me. But it's interesting.
No,
that's what makes it interesting. Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested in this. Yeah, and then of course, we're gonna see Iron Lad show up and go like, "Hey, are you done? You ready to be an Avenger or whatever?
Are you good?"
I'm like, all right, cool.
Get it together.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, he's gonna fight him and not join the Avengers, obviously, but like, okay, that'll be cool. Like, we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, I like that idea of AI Venom. Someone mentioned that in the chat.
Yeah, I assume that is what basically the audience right now is suggesting, is that like the suit Eventually, he's going to purge this suit, and the suit will be alive and AI, and it'll be himself, and he'll have to fight himself in some way. Interesting.
And then it'll be AI Doc Ock.
Yeah.
Or it'll be Venom Doc Ock.
Yeah, I hope not. I don't want any more amalgams of those characters. I don't want to see mergings of characters. Ever since I played the Activision Spider-Man game and we got Carnage Ock, I was like, I don't want to see any more of that. It's really weird.
Okay.
But ultimately, by the way, that game was amazing if you had no other Spider-Man games to compare it to, except like Arcade's Revenge. But Harry's journey's interesting. I'm of course really excited to see that, of course, like Robbie Robertson is deep throat in this situation, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna be your man on the inside. I'm like, oh, you're gonna die. But it was fun to have you, Robbie.
Come on.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Maybe he
the drama is great. I'm we're getting too little of Uncle Ben and Uncle Jonah, but I'm excited for more.
I agree with that. But I think we're just doing a good job of balancing. It's like they just gave us the candy of like these two together, and like we want to like see them as like Spider-Man and Green Goblin, presumably, right? I think the last issue he wasn't Spider-Man at all, right? It was just Peter.
No, just Peter. Yeah.
So I feel like in this one they're like, let's put a little Spider-Man in this one, let's put a little Green Goblin in this one, and a little peppering of the other two. It also feels like because we're not seeing too much of them right now, they're safe.
Yeah.
Like I feel like when we start focusing on Jonah and Ben, I'm gonna be like, oh god,
oh no,
don't do it.
He's gonna die.
Leave him alone. Let him be. be.
Yeah. What world are we getting here? It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
What is your book of the week?
Wait, hang on. Before we do book of the week, don't you want to do your big announcement? Like, keep people in suspense. Get them while they're still here, folks.
All right. Well, before we do that, we should
probably do that.
So Hulkzilla says, whoa, you two are in separate comic panels. Cool. Happy Monday, y'all. Thanks, Hulkzilla.
Well, thank you so much.
I'm getting over a highly infectious disease, and hopefully it'll be soon so I can shoot back issues again. But we're trying this out.
That would be good.
Chocobo Kid, get well soon, Sal. Thanks a lot, Chocobo Kid. Jamzilla, can I just say how beautifully it was to have Ultimate Spider-Man and Saga released on the same day? Bonus that USM 7 was one of the best issues so far.
Hey.
Bryce Harriet, hi. I love world building, so Ultimate Spidey is amazing. Kamala is in a big book, and Kieran Gillen's Power Fantasy is coming out this week. Love it.
Is it coming out this week? I haven't looked. Oh my gosh, wait, I have to look at the books of next week. I have to do that myself.
Would you like me to send you a link? I can send it to you in the private chat.
I can find it.
All right, well, it's in the private chat just in case you want it. MNM says, has Tiffany read Heir of Apocalypse? 5-issue miniseries that wrapped up last week, and in my opinion, completes Apocalypse's Krakoan arc way better than X-Men 700 did. Had some cool character status quo changes as well. Interesting.
No, I didn't. I didn't read any of those because I didn't really know where they were going with those books. But now that it's wrapped up, maybe I'll grab it, check it out. I did see it on the list this week, and I was like, well, I didn't reading the other ones, so nah.
Joshua Link, DeMatteis also introduced the first gay character in Marvel Comics with Arnie Roth. Interesting. So
you almost said DeMatteis, didn't you?
I did. DeMatteis. That's what I used to say back when it was pronounced that. No shade to JM and how he wants to pronounce his name, but it's funny to talk to older colleagues of his who are like, well, when we were working together, it was DeMatteis. And I'm like, yeah, then eventually he learned that his name was actually pronounced DeMatteis in like the old tongue. And so he wanted it, to change. But,
that's the only way I know him.
Right? Yeah, it's true. I knew him as DeMatteis, but only because I also know them in the way I read them in my head, because there were very few. I believe there was one, I think Marvel put it out. I don't remember which one, which publisher it did, but like there was a chart that was like, here's how to pronounce all the names of the familiar names you've seen.
Right.
And write out phonetically. And that was really fun. But I never got the benefit of that. But anyway, I know that Northstar predates Arnie, but I don't know if Northstar was created to be gay. So I couldn't say that. But King of New York, hey, Sal and Tiffany, hope you all are having a phenomenal day. What's your ratio of digital to floppies you pick up every week nowadays? Also, have you checked out the Cape Crusader show yet? Love y'all. Take care. Thank you very much, King of New York. We did watch the first episode of Cape Crusader. I don't love it. I'll probably watch more, but I don't love it. As far as ratio of floppies to pick up or to digital, I'd say it's probably 50-50 for me. What about you?
Mine is almost all digital, and then sometimes it's both simultaneously. So it's like very rare that I have a book in physical that I don't also already own, like rent a digital copy of it from Comixology / Kindle. You know, like typically like with like Saga, it's like I want to read it, so I'll buy the digital and then I'll also have the hard like the floppy version of it. It's
Yeah.
not very smart. And I'm like, I'm artificially boosting numbers. Oops.
Yeah. Cat Lawyer will defend for treats. Thank you very much for your support. Arduit, ComicPop Woo, weekly support for y'all. Thank you very much. Any Dr.
Thank
Fate
you.
book suggestions? Much love. Well, great news,
Hey.
because there is a Dr. Fate J.M. DeMatteis omnibus that is going to be available, I believe, in October.
Hell yeah.
But if you haven't already heard of it, I actually did look it up, and it's not available. I didn't see it like listed anywhere, but I did see that it was like posted. I believe that one's actually coming out in May of 2025. So like almost a year from now, you're getting that Dr. Fate book. But yeah, it according to Bleeding Cool, DC will be releasing a collection of DeMatteis' Dr. Fate with Keith Giffen and Sean McManus, May 2025. It will be 776 pages.
Oh,
So
wow.
check that book out.
Less big.
Yeah. Alf Abraham, hey, Salentivity, you guys were the ones who introduced me to the 2012 Valiant universe back then. Keep up the good work. Much love from Singapore. Thanks, Alf.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. What an interesting period that was. I was actually talking to a mover and shaker in the industry on a plane ride back from Comic-Con, and we were talking about the old days of Valiant and when we went to the Upright Citizens Brigade Valiant Summit. And
oh my gosh, that's right.
Yeah. Leslie Myers, USM has brought back my interest in comics. I read the original and now got excited to see the reboot. I haven't actually had a big interest in comics in general since the Nightwing Seeley run ended. Well,
wow.
If you did like that Seeley run, you might like the Taylor run, although it is coming to an end. But I'm glad that Ultimate Spider-Man has brought you back. That is why they did it, to get you to read more comics.
Yeah.
Jasper's VO, hi Sound 70, big fan, love all your videos. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I don't really like listening to music at the gym, so instead I've been listening to back issues, and it's been a great help.
That's so fun.
Thanks, man. That's great.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing us along on your health quest.
Yeah,
we should be doing that ourselves.
I watch Red Letter Media when I'm on the exercise bike.
Oh, very nice.
Baragian says, making a comic club at school I teach at. Any advice? Well, I have some fantastic ideas for you, my friend. Because DC has been coming out with these amazing, smaller sized books that you can pick up that feature their like seminal works, some of their biggest and bestest works out there, but undersized, like a little bit like more pocket sized.
A little more manga sized.
And those are cheaper, more accessible, and available, of course, at bookstores and at comic shops. And it's definitely a great way to add to your collection or expand audiences. And my advice to you would be to look up the list of those books that came out and just start from there, because all of those are seminal DC works that can easily expand your club and their interests, and they have tethers to other books that you could connect to as well. So that would be my advice. It's DC, but there are other, and then we'll talk about Marvel another time.
Yeah.
A Secret Boss says $5 for Kitty Snack. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. And Thorn Identity says, and he did have a actual here we go, damn it, this is the text for that super chat. As always, your payment will be in the form of super chats. Thank you. Well, of course, anytime, man. And thank you for your support and for the great books.
But our review is not paid for.
That's correct. We do not buy reviews.
Yeah.
DanV900, did you plan on watching Batman Cape Crusader? We did plan on watching it when it came out, and we did, and we watched it, and it was a little boring. So we'll see if there's more. I will try and read. I want to watch more of it, but I did not. After the first episode, I was like, meh. So I didn't want to shotgun the whole series at me, because I think that would only make me less interested in it. So I think
what didn't help is like we were trying to watch it in two different areas of our tiny home, and like we'd like to watch these things together, get each other's reactions or thoughts on things, and that just made it kind of hard. So I think we're already in a mindset for it to not be successful, so I think we should wait until we can come together and watch it together, and then
that's a fair point. I think I agree with that. So yeah, there's the big announcement here. It has nothing to do with Comic Pop, believe it or not. But I wanted to be very careful about these kinds of things because
Mm.
I never wanted to imply that I did this for any other reason than to have fun with my friends and connect with you guys on this show and the shows that we produce. And I do love this, and I'm not stopping, and we're not going to cease production, and it's not going to take in the place of anything that we're doing here. And I don't want to use this necessarily to promote anything else I do, but I'm going to do it anyway because it's the first time. So here we go. But I want you to understand that this is irrespective of what we do here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was tapped by the good people at Dynamite. There was a little bit of a self-serving nature of the pre-order, not necessarily to encourage you to do it, but more to teach you to do it. And I used an example that was a little self-serving to do it. But yeah, I'm writing one of the backup for the Terminator series launching from Dynamite Entertainment over at in October. And it's a really big deal for me because I've actually written quite a few comics, but none of the books you've read, folks, because they're all self-published. And yeah, Dynamite is going to take a chance on me with one of my most beloved IPs ever. I love Terminator. It's been a huge influence on me. It was formative in one of my earliest and closest friendships, and it is a movie series that is very near and dear to my heart, and I love it. And when Dynamite got the license, I immediately reached out to them, and I was like, I really, really want to do something with Terminator. And they were like, have you ever written anything? And I'm like, yes. And I provided all the books that I've written in the past, and they looked over them, and they were like, you can do this backup. So we're doing a backup in the main Terminator series. It'll be, I believe, in the first 5 issues of Terminator. It's going to be 2 pages per issue for a total of 10 pages. So I'm doing a 10-page original self-contained Terminator story that will complement the Declan Shalvey Terminator book that is launching in October. So if you get this book, Terminator, obviously show up for the Declan Shalvey of it all, but stay for the Sal influence as well. I can't speak too specifically about it at the moment, only because it's so preliminary and it's so early. I don't have all the details, but I can say that I am really excited. We just turned in draft 1, and the art is still pending. We're still working it out, but we're getting a Terminator backup. So, I want to thank you guys for your indulgence in allowing me to use this format to promote it in some way. And I want to thank my the folks at Dynamite for giving me the opportunity to shoot my shot with one of the most important franchises in my heart. And and so thank you all. Yeah, it's really exciting, and I'm really, really looking forward to seeing. And it's done, so I don't have to think about. I'm like, I wrote it. I'm going to get notes back. I'm going to fix it, and then I'll send it over, and then it'll be done. I don't have to think about it. But so
My
then,
cheeks hurt from smiling for you.
know, thank you so much. You're such a sweetie. I'm really,
so
really
thrilled. I'm so thrilled.
I know. I never thought that this would happen.
I'm so happy for you. I cannot wait to see it.
Yeah. So if you love me, buy the book, and if you hate me, you'll
buy it anyway.
Buy it anyway, and
because Declan Shalvey's there too.
And you'll get a good book anyway, no matter what. Last Starfighter, is there any way to purchase any of your previous comics? Not really. There used to be one of my books, Garth Kirby and the Cookbook of the Gods, used to be available on Comixology Submit. When Comixology switched over to Amazon, that evaporated. So that's gone. And I threatened legal action to all the comic book free sites for that book. So unlike every other comic book ever in existence, Garth Kirby's one of the few that isn't available on all the pirate sites. So you can't steal it either. But that's out there. Flight of the Binturong was our webcomic that we produced years and years ago. That is not in physical and not on digital either. I took the website down, so there's no more Flight of the Minturong available. But maybe you'll see that book again in a physical capacity in the future. And if it does, we'll make another announcement. But for now, you know, the only way you're going to be able to read my words in comic book form is to buy Terminator.
That's so exciting!
Pretty exciting. Nerdy Rock Comics.
Pretty exciting. It is.
I am really understating it, but I am very excited. Never seen Terminator, but knowing what it means for you, and as a fan of yours, I'll be pre-ordering. Thank you very much. I'm very happy for you. Thanks, man. Thank you so much. Again, I just want to know. Victor Bogdanovic drew Garth Kirby in the Cookbook of the Gods. And yeah,
which is like crazy.
I know. It was actually Vic's first book. Victor Bogdanovic. I found him on a website called Pencil Jack, which was a artist forum. And I saw his sequentials, and I'm like, this guy. And I reached out to him, and I asked him if he was interested, and he was amazing, and he just nailed it at the first try. There were like almost no notes that I had to give when it came to the pages. And then they went off and drew books like Wolverine and Batman and King Spawn. So, you know, but he's always been such a prince about it. And he's always been like, hey, whenever you want to do Garth Kirby too. And I'm like, yeah, once anybody buys Garth Kirby 1.
I love that though. Cause like and I'm glad that he's doing King Spawn. Cause I always like submit that he had like a Capullo about him.
He does have a Capullo influence, but it's its own style. It's very distinct.
Oh no, it's through and through Victor, 100%.
And I should point out, Victor is not drawing this new Terminator Initiative.
No.
Not
there's
for
another. No, there's another artist, and when that's all finalized, I'm sure you could talk about it more. But like, what I've seen of the art, I'm excited.
Oh no,
their art, not of art for this.
No, we have no art for this yet. But when Dynamite said the name of the person who was working on it, I was like, wow, that's awesome. So I'm really excited to see it. Grayson Red, been watching you for years, and I'm super proud. Write your heart out and kick some ass. You've got a pre-order out of me. Thank you very much, Grayson. I'm trying to. I want it to just be cool. I don't want it to like. It's not going to be that deep or introspective. It's just. I just want it to be cool. It's only 10 pages. I want it to just be fun. Rayumbo, won't lie, I'm buying the 5 issues for you. You've supplied me with hours of content. I would love to support your other creative endeavors. ComicPop Woo. Well, thank you very much, Rayumbo. I appreciate that, man.
That's so sweet.
Thank you all. Dried Zachariah, can't wait to read about Terminator on a pirate ship. I didn't do it. I didn't do any. No, pirate ships are for predators.
Yeah, for sure. Why am I blurry? Camera, what happened?
I don't know. But yeah, let's talk about the book of the week.
There it is. Yeah, book of the week. What's your book of the week, man?
I gotta give it to Blood Hunt 5. I think
that's fair.
Blood Hunt crushed it.
It absolutely crushed it. I do kind of honestly want to also give it to X-Force #1 because it was the first one of the new X line that I was like, I like this. I'm excited to see where this goes. Yeah. Apparently, that's a big ask of these new X books. So like, I kind of want to give it there. It's just a solid #1 that makes me feel rewarded for reading past X-Force books, but also like excited to get to know a new team of like not only characters but writer and artist. Yeah, working together.
No, I know. I agree.
Oh, and Saga. I mean, come on.
And Saga, of course. Did we get Caden's? Caden said was considering buying Terminator, but now I'm certain I'll be buying it. Congrats. Thank you very much, Caden McGregor. Appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you very much. And Vidal Ruiz the third. Fuck yes, Sal. I'm so glad I backed that project. Yeah, right, man. It's awesome.
So is that like that Terminator? Not connect. I was gonna ask, is that connected to the?
No, the backer kit was a reprinting of the lost media of Terminator properties in comics. This new one is a brand new, wholly original, going forward Terminator story. This is like in its own, more or less in its own continuity going forward.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Nick Palmer, when I asked what was cooking, I didn't think it would be for this. Big hype for sure. Going to pre-order. Thank you, man. I'm excited. I'm excited to see this.
And this is not his art. This is just Sal just showing us a picture of a Terminator.
This is just a cool variant that is for the upcoming Terminator series. I'm just really excited. I just like this image of him underwater. I posted it earlier. People were like, "Is he in a pirate ship?" And I'm like, "No." No,
amazing. Amazing. Yeah, and please don't be upset with us if we mention this again. I definitely am going to make sure that we bring this up each week for a bit. Yeah.
I don't want to oversell it, but I also I think it would be.
But I'm super proud of you, so I absolutely will oversell it. I don't care.
Thank you.
I'm going to oversell it.
Yeah, well, but if you do want to support, feel free. But you are under no obligation. Being a friend of the show or being an audience member, you do not have to buy the series. But
No, no, no,
but
no.
if it intrigues you, I mean, listen, Declan Shalvey's writing it. It's gonna be like really cool. Like I've gotten to take a look at the pitch deck. Like it's gonna be neat. Like it's gonna be a really cool series. So definitely check it out. Yeah. So as far as books are concerned, what's coming out this week that we think you should check out?
Yeah,
Batman
what do you got?
151. More Batman. It's connected to Absolute Power, which is a shame, but not that I don't like Absolute Power, but I was like, where are you going with this, Chip? Come on. But it's cool. I'm still digging it. Absolute Power #2 is also dropping. What an amazing series this has turned out to be. What event. It really went from like kind of to when it came to the first issue. So I'm hyped about that. Birds of Prey #12 is just a fantastic series that I'm really glad people are finally getting on the bandwagon for. There's a great book. Spectacular Spider-Man #6 coming from Greg Weisman is great, and I think it's worth reading. Let's see here. There's a new book, Spider-Man Black Suit and Blood, which is a fun concept. And obviously, black and white and red. JMD Mateus will be writing it, so it's definitely worth checking out.
Yes.
And Spider-Man Reign.
I saw that too. I thought you were off of it, so I was gonna.
No, I loved this book, and I was like, it's so weird.
Okay,
but I do like it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, no. And of course, if you guys have not already gotten on the bandwagon for Public Domain from Chip Zdarsky, you need to be reading Public Domain. Read the 7th issue drops this week. But read issues 1 through 6. Just pick up the trade. It's a beautiful trade. It's great looking. It's nicely bound and good quality paper. But it's about the comic book industry, but in a fun, irreverent, cheeky way that has like a really genuine human interest story at the core. And it's Chip Zdarsky doing the whole damn thing. Made it during the pandemic. Come on, check it out. Yeah. What about you, Tiffy? What do you got?
Well, as someone pointed out earlier, Kieran Gillen does have a book coming out this week. It wasn't actually the book I thought it was. I thought it was the other one that I saw at New York Comic Con, which I'm super excited about. This is Power Fantasy. It's coming out from Image, I believe. It's Kieran Gillen with Casper Wingyard.
Wingard. Oh man. Can't help you
it's like I see the letters and my brain has some idea how it might be pronounced. So my mouth is just like, pass. No.
Yeah. I'm sorry,
it's not happening. I'm so sorry. But you a couple powerhouses, not only in comics, but in independent comics for sure. So, you got Wicked and Divine, Die, for Gillen, among all of his other works, and Casper coming in with Homesick Pilot and Against All. So it's like, if you like that stuff, I'm gonna at least check it out, or pre-order this, or possibly the trade. Sometimes I'll just go to a trade for Gillen. We'll see. Again, like this wasn't the one I thought it was. I'm definitely looking forward to another one that's coming out. But I'll always give that a shot. Doctor Strange #18. This is the end of this book.
Yeah.
For right now, Jed MacKay, Pascal Ferry. It's been a wild ride. I'm looking forward to the next iteration of Jed MacKay's Sorcerer Supreme, I suppose.
I hope it's cool,
because that's really what it is, right? Like, Jed has been writing the Sorcerer Supreme book.
Yes.
Whether it be like Stephen, Clea, Doom,
or Doom,
I don't know. Like, that's really what that's what his run has been. So yes, absolutely. And let's see. The Deviant #7 is coming out this week. What a weird, dark, sick story from James Tynion IV and Josh Hickson, but I love it. I freaking love it. Also, like, weirdly set around like the holidays. So like, even though it's dark, scary, in a world I don't want to live in, like every once in a while I'm like, winter, like, yay. But I like this book, and I enjoyed catching up on it. I was a couple issues behind, so looking forward to the next issue of that. Shout out, of course, to Ultimate Black Panther #7. What a cool book. What a cool book. That's Brian Hill and Stefano Caselli on writing and art, respectively. Yeah, and then also Uncanny X-Men #1 is coming out this week. Gail Simone, David Marquez, the team for this one. Let's see if they can live up to X-Force's like joy that it brought me this week. This, with this next #1, like I said, like the other X entries haven't really done it for me. So
Yeah.
let's see if they can, keep this like streak going with
That'd be
one,
nice.
essentially.
Yeah. I forgot. Also, Space Ghost #4 is coming out. That's David
Ooh.
Peppo's really good looking book and fun and completely new universe for folks, I'm sure. And Avengers is going to have the first Storm's joining the team on Avengers, so maybe that might be a good time to jump on
Oh.
and give it a try.
Okay. Yeah, some of you ex-patriots can head over there and maybe check out what McKay's doing with that. Is McKay still on Avengers?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know.
He's a powerhouse, though, for sure.
Yeah. John Tink 56 says, I've been wanting to get into some Iron Man books. Do you have any recommendations besides Demon in a Bottle? Yeah, I mean, like the Michelini era for that book is a lot of fun and is so like contributory. Like they only build. So if you pick up like the Michelini Bob Layton period, it was a good run. That has Armor Wars, and I think I don't think he wrote Armor Wars 2. I'm sure of that, but good stuff overall. But Michelini is the way to go when it comes to Iron Man. I understand that I think Gillen wrote Iron Man too, and I think it's great. So I think that's worth reading as well.
Probably. Gillen props up places where you're like, this is good, and you look at who was writing it, and you're like, what? How long have you been writing comics for, man?
Right, exactly.
How old are you? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Age doesn't matter when it comes to anything.
No. Chaticus, congrats, Al. Plan on signing all 5 issues for me next year at Baltimore Comic Con. Thank you very much, Chaticus. That'll be weird.
I love that name too.
Yeah, I know. It's great. Dex Baker 1 sounds so proud of you. Thank you very much, Dex. Next step, that AVPT pitch. Yeah. They're never going to do it. 2, Blood Hunt was so awesome that the tie-ins got me to read 3 Ghost Rider trades and 2 Blade trades. Marvel thanks you, man.
But like, not only like, okay, yeah, sure, the business element of it, sure, that's what they want, right? But like, I love that discovery element of it, where you're like, man, I really like these characters. I want more. Oh, here we go. And like, let's be honest, Ghost Rider and Blade, they're fun. They're just fun to read. It's so unhinged at times.
Yeah. No, it's so true. Let's see here. Lenny Laserdiscs arrived super late, and I apologize. You talked about it already, but how'd you feel about Batman Cape Crusader? Thumbs up, middle, or down? It's just okay to me so far. Yeah, that's fair to say. I was not in love with it. I loved Batman the Animated Series down to my toes because of the collaboration that was involved and how much influence there was. Paul Dini was so much of the soul of that show.
Yeah.
Kevin Altieri has a lot to do with that, with elements of that show. Like there's a lot of different disparate elements that make that show what it was. And to divorce those personalities and be like, one guy from then who also really likes Batman and Barbara Gordon getting together for some reason is involved. Not that I really care. Like the Barbara Gordon of it all, I don't care. I'm so desensitized to it at this point. I couldn't care less. But it's like, a dark version of Batman, but I recognize the good. I just didn't care for the pacing of the first episode. So we'll see.
And again, you weren't feeling well. We were in 2 different rooms trying to watch it simultaneously. So it's like, I feel like we need to give it like a fair shake once things kind of return back to normal in our worlds, for sure.
Exactly.
By the way, I got to tell you, sitting on this end of everything, the set looks really good. Like you just like a solo person over there. I like it when it's 2, but it looks really good when it's just like 1 person on that set.
Thank you.
It looks great. I'm like, what is this?
Oh, I appreciate. It's our living room.
Good. I know.
Well, I appreciate that.
Well, it looks better when it's not just a little window of it. Like that looks.
True.
I just like it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad you like it. Folks, if you want to see this on a regular basis, you could also subscribe to this channel, like the video, and you can check out other shows on this channel that feature this set in this box. Sometimes even the full damn thing, like Elseworlds Exchange or here on Off the Rack. But we want to thank you so much for being here. Thank you to the kindness that you guys have shown us over the years, and particularly in this episode, for the kindness about this new chapter in my life, possibly the last chapter of this endeavor for me, but we'll see how it goes. Terminator #1 is coming out in October. Make sure to pre-order your books if you love them and you want to see them succeed. But my Terminator story is coming out.
I'm excited. I'm gonna have to pre-order it myself.
I'm beyond excited. I mean, like
yeah, I'm so thrilled. I'm so freaking thrilled and proud, and I'm so excited you get to talk about it too.
Me too. Yeah, no, I've been keeping it tight-lipped for quite a while. Mostly because I was like, is it even happening? Like, am I gonna
totally fair?
Because until there's like official word, or until there's like clasped hands and documents sent. It seems ethereal and unreal. But I said it here.
Chat just like called out the fact that you put a Terminator on the set. I see it.
Yep.
You clever jerk.
Yeah, I had that Terminator forever. I got him at ToyCon in in Parsippany, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Years ago, from when NECA used to have like a wing and they were just selling their unsold stock. It's where our Predator 2 came from. But that Terminator's been there, but he hasn't been on the set forever, but I put him on the set today. I was like, just a little thing. Because he's been sitting in the library forever.
Yeah, he has. So hooray, he gets to be there.
I actually I was looking at him today and I took a rubber band off of him. He had like a rubber band around his mouth. So I took it off, like his jaw just went. It was just, I was like,
he's just surprised.
Yeah, I was like, oh, does this stay closed? So it might have. No, it stayed closed. All right.
Great.
His jaw might have hit the floor once they announced that I'm actually doing that. So
he's so thrilled.
Yeah, I know. I am too. But thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for your support on every episode of the show, but in particular for this. And thank you to Dynamite for giving me my shot. I really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I can't wait.
Thank you, Tiffany, for being here. Thanks to our super chatters for sponsoring today's show. And Tiffany, what are you playing now that the beta's closed for Marvel Rivals on twitch.tv/ComicPop?
Don't ask me why I thought it went to the 6th, but I sure did. So like last night I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get like a couple more like missions in because I wanted to get the beta Venom skin. So I did. I unlocked that. That's permanent. All the other skins that you unlock aren't permanent, but I got the Scarlet Witch one from Alpha and I got the Cyan Venom one, which they said, according to them, because like when you go into like the costume breakdown, it actually tells you where it originates from. So like Rocket has one from like 1872 when that book came out a while back, and like there's an Iron Man one. But I love that they're giving a callback to the comics. It's cool. Like now that Jeff is in the game, they're like, Jeff originated from here, right? But this like blue version of Venom, which clearly looks like the Marvel versus Capcom one, they're like, it was invented. It was invented for the game, and I was like.
Okay. I mean, he's been blue before, but
he's like real blue. He's like real blue. I should play Terminator. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I when I like don't have something lined up because again in my head I had like at least a day more for beta.
Yeah. Apparently there's a Helldivers update. I didn't know that.
Oh, we can play Helldivers. I just literally got back into Helldivers again just recently. I was like, oh my god, Helldivers, I love you. We could do that.
It was fun to play with Ben and everybody again.
Yeah, maybe we'll play something online, or I'll just jump back into some Elden Ring if I just really want to beat myself up. We'll see. I don't know.
Fair, yeah.
But I'll take requests or thoughts.
Of course. Well, tweet at Tiffany at the real.
Give me thoughts and prayers.
Yes, but of course, make sure to watch Tiffany on twitch.tv/ComicPop or on YouTube at youtube.com/ComicPop Plays. All links are in the description below this video, and we'll see you guys next time with another episode of Off the Rack. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody. So long, everybody.
Bye.